Hi, I'm Lana and this is my manifesto. So, introduction, who am I? My name's Lana, I'm 19 and I'm a second year student in education and training. My beliefs that I'm talking about today in this presentation is to do with special needs classes and special units, and this is what later I'm going to talk about with my manifesto. So, over the number of years, more children have been diagnosed with disability or special needs. In Irish primary schools, the schools can accommodate these children, and therefore the children with special needs are either left to enter a mainstream school, not go to school at all. This is happening to parents across Ireland. So the question is why? Why is this happening? There is a lack of resources in primary schools. So over the number of years, there has been a high demand for SNAs in schools. Um, While many children with autism benefit from having an SNA to support them in the classroom, there are often not enough SNAs meeting the ground demand. This can lead to children with autism not having the one-on-one support. And I read an article that says 45 of children with support needs are being failed by the education system as they face multiple barriers to access their right to school. So these can include that there is not enough lack of support, a reduced timetable, there's behavioural issues, or they're not attending school at all. So this is a big thing that because of the lack of resources, their needs are not being met. So integration versus special education. So at the moment there is an ongoing debate about balance between the mainstream schools and special classes. So in some schools there are two separate wherever a school can accommodate, there can be a special unit and then there's a normal classroom, but some schools can't do that. So what they do is they integrate them all into one, which some schools have gotten along fine with it, but other schools I think are struggling. I know for me personally, with the school that I did my placement in, they kind of integrate the kids together. The class I was in wasn't a problem at all. There's one or two children with special needs, but they would just get taken out of the class when needed to. But I feel like it's important to have the separate because it gives you a choice, because you can either say, oh look, my child, he or she will be okay to go into the class, but every now and again they're taken out, or is that maybe the class is too disruptive and they can't do their work, and they are therefore like they can't do their work and they're not learning anything. So I feel like this is very important. So difficulty in accessing early intervention. So with the child with special needs, it is important for an early intervention in school, but because of this can be difficult due to waiting lists. So in Ireland, most schools every school has a waiting list, but especially for the special children with special needs, um, this it can be ridiculous. Like the waiting list could be for like 2-3 years, and children are not getting um into schools, and and parents are not being heard either about this. So and according to the Irish Times, a total of 126 kids, that's in just one area of Dublin, um with special needs are without a school placement. So I think the government really needs to step up and say to schools like, look, we need more places in school, we need more units, and I think the funding is a big thing. They say they're doing the funding. There is an article that they say, oh, we're putting this amount of money in, but um it's not enough. We need more, especially in school, as it's very important. School is very important to kids. So this news card is very interesting to me. It only happened a couple of days ago. I think it was 5 or 6 days ago. So parents of special needs, as you can see in the picture, they were standing outside Leinster House to protest over their kids not getting into school, and there's not enough units, there's the waiting list, everything that I've already explained. And I think that they had a peaceful protest. There was no badness or anything. I think it was really important that they did this because they're finally being heard, and I think the government kind of brushes it under the rug, as you say. I just feel like that it was very brave of them to do that, and yeah, I find it very interesting, and I thought it was quite heartbreaking as well. I read in this article there's a this boy, I can't remember his name, but he had to go into they had to tell him to leave preschool, and he hasn't been to school preschool he hasn't been to school since, and he's like 6 or 7 because of um preschool could not accommodate his needs. So solutions, so increase funding to schools that can't accommodate specialised class. So the government Department of Education to really give more in the budget and so forth, and increase in SNA. So um and then there should be more units available for special needs children. And these are my references, and thank you for listening.